Hi, it's 27th of April. Temperature wise, last night it dropped to 3 degrees and yesterday the peak was 27 and currently it's at 22. So we're getting reasonable daytime temperatures, but it's just dropping into the chilly range at night. I'm going to pot up some parsnip seeds and do some sprouts. We can still plant these now and they will grow over the winter. So parsnips really don't need potting on. They want to be planted where they're going to grow. So I'm actually going to grow them in these pots, which are probably about 9 inches deep. So I've got 2 pots ready here. Just going to fill these up. So the seeds themselves will be on the top of the soil. So they need to go into a seed mix really at the top. But the main pot itself, I'm going to fill up with potting compost, which I have here. So I'll do this first. Actually, that will be too slow. Let's just go for the old-fashioned, get your hands mucky approach. So this is an organic potting compost. If you want to eat healthy food, give your food something healthy to eat. A nice bit of organic compost. Doesn't feel too dry either at the moment. You can of course make your own compost. The disadvantage of that is the time factor. If you're new and you want to start growing your plants now, your seeds, you can't wait significant time for compost to decay to be at a point where it's ready for use. But certainly I do make my own compost. You'll see here some black dustbins and they're full of discarded growth from last year and potting mix and seed mix from last year. That will all decay down. The dustbins themselves have got holes in so that worms can get in. Worms are probably in there in egg form anyway. Whenever I open it, I always see plenty of worms and plenty of spiders. Now once we've planted these seeds, we will have to let them grow for a while and then thin them so that each parsnip has enough space to grow. There's plenty of depth there for a reasonable sized parsnip, so it will just be the spacing. I think we're probably at a point where we can empty this bag. I'll get rid of that later. Okay, it doesn't need compressing down. And then I'll top that up with some of my seed compost. This is finer much finer type of growth medium. Ideal for the seeds, but once the seeds get underway they need to be growing into something a bit more nutritious in terms of potting compost. So there we are. There's our 2 pots ready. I'll just give my hands a wipe. We're at the tail end of planting for the seeds for Brussels sprouts and parsnips really. Soon get into the weather where we get frosts. Everything in the garden then starts slowing down. So here's my parsnips. It says on the packet can be sown through September to April, so we're at the tail end really. Now remember, this is in the southern hemisphere. So all you people in the northern hemisphere, if you're watching, add 6 months to the process. So we're out of sync with you in the northern hemisphere. So here's our parsnip seeds. And as you can see, they're little tiny papery flat seeds. They look a bit like rolled oats actually. Tiny little things, and we just want to dot those across the surface, and we'll do thinning once they start germinating. Don't want too many. There's 200 in this packet. I like parsnips, but I won't be using 200 in the winter, or over the winter into the spring. Just get them in contact, and a little sprinkle cover, not too heavy. Now they take a while to actually germinate. So that's them. Let's mark them up. I like them just roasted, straightforward. So we'll pop those over there for the moment. We'll give those a water in. Let's do that other one. They're the only ones I'm putting in large pots at the moment, but it's always best to make sure that you label up so you know what you're growing. And we'll fold that down, pop that back in there so it goes in the house dry.